The following is a Tony Lasano podcast, an Opie show on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. This is Free Kicks. So, Adam, I think you know this is a special day.
Certainly is. Very special.
Can I play a little audio to tell everybody else why it's so special?
I think so.
All right, here we go.
Free Kicks with Adam and Rick has now reached episode 200. Nice going, fellas. That's one hell of an achievement. Congratulations to Free Kicks with Adam and Rick.
And let's do that show right now.
And now, Free Kicks. Free Kicks with Illinois Youth Soccer Association's Director of Coaching, Adam Howarth, and Rick Kemper.
So this is going to be a fun one. We got a couple of special features prepared for you coming up in a bit later. But before we do that, let's talk about how good you have gotten at picking the game of the week. I mean, last week at this time, you mentioned that Manchester City versus Chelsea was the game to watch. A lot of people rolled their eyes like, oh, okay, he's picking Chelsea again.
Yeah.
But wow, what a game that was. The final 4-4.
Yes.
It was back and forth and nip and tuck and east and west. And just tell everybody about that game.
Wow. What can you say? It was truly an amazing match. It was so good that I forgot about the laundry in my downstairs, which led to a nice leakage of water in the basement. So that was good. So I got into a bit of trouble, but hey, it was all worth it because
honey, what am I supposed to do?
Hey, I got distracted by the game. I mean, I couldn't even go. I couldn't even leave to make a cup of tea. I didn't even want to leave at halftime because there was so much stuff to talk about. I mean, 2-2 at halftime, 4-4 for the final match. Back and forth, nip and tuck, and then to seal it. I mean, couldn't have write a better story. Cole Palmer, rejected by Manchester City, thrown away. Chelsea signs him for $40 million, and what a penalty! I mean, he's put a couple of good penalties away already, but that one, talk about pressure.
Oh, I know. How old is that kid?
Oh, it was like 20 years old, I think. So and just got picked up for the England team. So there you go. So just got added to the England squad. So that gives you an idea of what he can do. So what an amazing game to finish. Chelsea are well and truly back. So excited. Manchester City are still the best, but we're getting closer.
For one day only, you matched up perfectly against them. And I think the whole world thought when it was 4-3, when Manchester City went up again 4-3, everybody thought, oh, they fought so hard and they're going to go away with nothing. But like you mentioned, they went down there and they played they had a chip on their shoulder. Raheem Sterling, another discard from Manchester City. Mm-hmm. These guys, they were playing like they were possessed.
Exactly. And when you look at the stats, I think it's 55-45 possession. You know, Manchester City's always going to be. But everything else was really even. Shots 17-15 in favor of Chelsea. On target 10-9 Manchester City. Corners were the same. Fouls were about the same. So you couldn't have got a more even game. And I'm super glad that it finished in a draw because I don't think a team deserved to lose that game.
Yeah, I agree.
And so if you're ever going to say, oh, yeah, that's a draw, but most exciting draw of the season, I would definitely probably put that in the top 10 games I've ever seen for sure.
Yeah, I would too, actually. Watched the whole thing and just loved every second of it. Yeah, it should be a something that they show to the world to show them how great the Premier League is.
Exactly. I just love the way that both teams try to play. They're playing through the thirds of the field. They're playing out, but then they're also playing a long ball when they need to, the amount of skill on show by both teams, the little touches, the little flicks, pressing at such a high level, the organization of both teams, defensive mistakes, which is only because of the attack being so good. So that's what ends up happening, and that's exactly what you want. So, I mean, probably if you're a coach, you don't want 4-4s every game, but if you're
or a goalkeeper,
a fan, or goalkeeper. But if you're a fan, those are the games you want every week. You get one of those every week, you're a happy camper. And that's why the Premier League's the best league in the world.
It's true. Let's talk about your Chelsea team a little bit. They're all the way up to 10th place now. But I will say, with Reece James in that lineup, they're a different team.
For sure.
When he's not there, it's such a big loss. It's a giant hole that they cannot fill, and he takes them to the next level. I mean, when he is in there running down that wing, I think he got at least one or maybe even 2 assists in that game. Mm-hmm. It just adds an element of danger to the offense that is not there when he's not there. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, he's there and did a fantastic job as he should. And he's the captain. He's the man. And I think you can see why he's a captain, because I think somebody said this. He's different to a Trent Alexander-Arnold because he has Trent Alexander-Arnold's attacking prowess. But unlike Trent Alexander-Arnold, he can actually defend as well, because he was great against on that far side. When he's going up against Doku, who's not, he's no easy guy to deal with. He's tricky.
We talked about him last week. He didn't do much in that game.
No, he didn't, and that's partly because of Reece James. It really was. I mean, both of the players, I think, both on the outsides were really tremendous in terms of, and I'll give Cucurella, I've obviously been critical of him. I thought he played pretty well as well. Kind of a tough penalty kick. I think there was a little bit of pushing on both sides, but
I don't know about that penalty kick either. But I actually, this was such a weird feeling for me because I was totally rooting for Chelsea, which felt a little odd, but I enjoyed it.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think what was nice too was, and the credit to both managers, every person that subbed in made a difference. So all of them made some type of change. Obviously, Broha, and I don't know if you remember this. We saw him play as an under-18. Did you know that?
Do remember that.
Yeah, he played in that game when we was at Chelsea that week. So he's from Slough too, the hometown. So
hey, Slough was mentioned in the game.
Yeah, exactly. See, there you go, getting some big time props. Exactly.
So let's talk about the rest of the tabletop there, because it's an interesting it's an interesting mix. Now we have, heading into the international break this coming weekend, we've got Manchester City in first, but they're only up by 1 point over Liverpool and Arsenal, and they're only up 2 points over Tottenham, who lost a crusher over the weekend. That was a rough one. and only 3 over Aston Villa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Aston Villa came through. Of course they did, because I didn't pick their players. And that's what happens. So, I think Liverpool's looking really good. Your team there is priming themselves. And that Mr. Mo Salah is now the leading scorer in the league, scored 2 nice goals. And I think he's just gearing up. I think this might be his last year, depending on what happens. But I think he's going to really push to try to leave it on an extremely high note. But they look very good, completely controlled the game against Brentford, who can obviously cause problems. But you're out shooting them 10-3 on target. That gives you an idea of just the dominance of that game. So, I think Liverpool might be the next best challenger. That's not to say that Arsenal isn't going to be there and thereabouts, but I just think Liverpool and the form that they're in could be the team.
Yeah, it could be. I'm knocking on knocking on wood on that one. You want to talk a little bit about that Tottenham game before we get to our next feature? Because that was a very Spursy moment, wasn't it?
It really was. I mean, they scored in the third minute, right? They're in the lead for basically the whole match, and then they concede 2 goals. I mean, I was very happy that they got the tying goal. I was like, okay, that's great. That knocks Tottenham down. But then for them to go and win it in the 97th minute, my goodness gracious, that was such a thing. So I think the tough thing for Tottenham is, and again, great start. They've done fantastically well, but now the depth and strength of their squad is now starting to tell. They just don't have the depth to deal with the injuries that they are now dealing with. Yep. And that's going to be the biggest issue for them. So whether or not they can hang on, I think they're definitely in the top 6. Top 4 might be a little bit of a stretch depending on, their injury crisis.
Yeah.
And you've got teams a little bit lower that could potentially make a little bit of a surge in the next few weeks, I think.
Got anybody in mind?
Yeah, maybe a couple.
Yeah, I am with you. Newcastle, right? All right. Well, I mentioned it's our 200th show. So we have a special 200th show feature. And, of course, there's audio for that.
Free Kicks with Adam and Rick has now reached episode 200.
And because of that, our 200th show special feature, we're going to talk about something we don't usually talk about, and that is shows about soccer. Because this is the international break, and if you're anything like me, you go through withdrawal over the weekend when something's going on, or when nothing's going on, rather. And there are a couple of great shows, if you're not watching them already, that we recommend to you. Right now, Bridget and I are in the midst of watching Beckham.
Okay, yeah. Good one.
Which
I did watch that.
Is tremendous. How much of that lines up with how you remember it?
Everything. Okay. I mean, it brings me back to those days. I mean, I don't know how far you got, but it brings me back to when, he got sent off in the match in the World Cup.
I remember that very well.
And I just remember so clearly the aftermath. He was really, people were so mean to him. It was awful. It was absolutely awful about how he let the country down and all of these things. When really, he shouldn't have been sent off in the first place. It was crazy.
A very quick red card.
Yeah, but it didn't help that the manager at that time didn't support him. And I know in the show he talks about how he felt kind of slighted by that. And that's a player that he highly respected in Glenn Hoddle, who was the manager at the time. But for him to come out and just kind of throw him to the wolves, so to speak, that was probably not the best thing, and that probably made it a little bit of a sour point to what happened.
At that time, I was not following the Premier League, but I was an international soccer fan, and it was a big story that he got the red card, and we were all just kind of, laughing at England. But I had no idea that it got that ugly. That was just gruesome. How rough people were to him.
Yeah, exactly right. Some of the stuff that was going on, the things that were said, there was, threats to him, his family. It was really, really bad. But, like he does, he came back, turned it around, and he did it the best way he could by doing it on the field, by scoring that tremendous goal. Again, I don't want to.
Spoiler alert.
I don't want to spoil it for you, but I know it so well about how he turned that around and the goal that he scored to change everybody's opinion. So,
well, that's on Netflix if you're looking for it. If you haven't seen it yet,
it's
strongly recommended. The other one that we're watching, and I know that you and I have talked about this briefly before, but Bridget, who's not a huge soccer fan, is obsessed with Welcome to Wrexham. Which has everything you can imagine. I mean, it's got a movie star, big television star. But for me, the thing that is so fascinating about that show is the people of Wrexham. It does such a good job of showing the importance of the football club to the local community. And people just live and die by it. It's a coal mining community, or once was, and so their lives are not sunshine and lollipops. So they have something to cling to on the weekends, and that's this Wrexham team. And it had fallen in such disrepute that it had gone to the very bottom of the English soccer chain, and these two Hollywood stars come in to rescue it. And you start thinking, all right, what's going to happen here? I mean, it's not as easy as it sounds. And you just knew watching that these guys really had no idea what they were getting into.
Mm-hmm.
Have you watched it at all?
I have watched it. It's probably a little trickier to find with it being on FX.
Right.
That's just a little tougher channel. I caught it, and again, I started watching the second series. I think they're on 2 series, right?
Yeah,
this
2
is the
seasons,
second series. Because now this is the series that they will get promoted, if I remember. So this is when they will join the league. League Two here, right. So that's when they win the league. So that's exciting. So I've seen bits and pieces of it, but I mean,
it's also on Hulu, by the way. If you're
on Hulu too, yeah. I mean, and then also last year they had a great FA Cup run as well.
They did,
so that was also kind of cool. So kind of seeing that and just seeing how the two, Hollywood stars have really just kind of took it under their skin in terms of making sure that they feel like they're part of it, and how they really appreciate all the people. And I think that's what's made the show really appealing, is that they appreciate the people of Wrexham rather than just 2 Hollywood people, like you mentioned, coming in and just saying, yeah, we're going to do this. They actually are down with what's happening.
Yeah.
And so that's the cool thing. But, just as an update on what, I don't know if you've seen, they are second in League Two right now. They could get promoted again.
Wow.
So they could be in League One next year. So that means they're only 2 more leagues away from getting to the Premier League, which would just be amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
Well, there you go. That's my little. Those are my 2 little recommendations. I think Adam has a few also.
Yeah. So the one that I've started watching, and again, it's all about time, right? So now everybody's got Thanksgiving coming up and Christmas. This might be the time to do it. But if anybody's been onto Prime, Amazon Prime, they've done all these all for nothing documentaries. They did one on Manchester City. They did one on Arsenal. There's 2 on there that I've kind of started watching. So this is not necessarily in the All for Nothing series. It's slightly a little bit different, but it's called We Are Newcastle United, and it kind of basically details the takeover, obviously, and then obviously the new manager. So this is about a year and a half ago, but it's a really interesting look at how that takes place and how the Saudi Arabian country, this basically kind of now are a big part of it, and again spends a lot of time talking to the people of the town and seeing how they feel in terms of that. So that's definitely a good one. And then there's another one that, again, I haven't watched all of it. That's always the problem with these shows, right?
Mm-hmm.
Trying to get through it. But there's one on Hansi Flick and the World Cup on Amazon Prime, and so it gets, I think, from what I've seen so far, you could kind of see the tension, because obviously Germany did not do very, very well in the World Cup. But it basically kind of follows him and the team through the World Cup that took place in Qatar last year. So really, realistically, it's kind of the downfall of him, unfortunately, because, not too long ago, he just got fired, so now kind of moving in a different direction.
You never know what you're signing up for when you agree to be filmed like that.
Yeah, exactly. But you can see there's definitely clips and things. It's obviously for you, it would be great because you could listen in on German or practice your German.
Yeah.
I'm busily watching the subtitles, but that's okay.
Hansi Flick.
But yeah, it's an interesting watch. So I would definitely recommend those two, and those are both on Amazon Prime. So if you have that membership, you'll have access to it.
All right, so there's something to do this weekend. Don't complain about the international break. You've got plenty to watch. All right, Free Kicks is brought to you by the Illinois Youth Soccer Association.
Illinois Youth Soccer has been serving the Illinois soccer community since 1975 and is a non-profit corporation, official state association and charter member of the U.S. Soccer Federation, administers U.S. Soccer Federation coaching programs, the Olympic Development Program, and U.S. Soccer Federation referee programs. For more information, go to illinoisyouthsoccer.org.
Okay, time for your favorite part of the show.
Time now to guess the Premier League star.
Well, this is going to be a little bit different today. All right, this is our, everyone already knows that this is
episode 200.
So, for this special 200th episode, I wanted to pick a player that has played at least 200 games in the Premier League. But here's what I did. I looked up, there's a lot of them. There are 46 excluding keepers that have played over 200 games. But I decided not to have you guess a specific player. Instead, because there are 46 of them, they're spread over the entire Premier League, I discovered that there are 3 teams, only 3, in all of the Premier League that do not have at least one player, excluding keepers, that have 200 matches under their belt.
Now you're talking about 200 matches in the Premier League or 200 matches in general? Gotcha.
So, so that means 17 teams do have at least one player, right? So 3 of them don't. I'm going to give you 5 guesses to come up with those 3 teams that do not have any.
All right. Okay.
Now, he was not prepared for this, ladies and gentlemen. This is just throwing him at it at the last second.
I feel pretty confident.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to go with the first one.
Yeah.
Luton Town.
Incorrect. Luton Town has 2 players that have played that many games.
Yeah, I guess
they've got Ross Barkley.
Yeah, that's true, and then Andres Townsend.
That's exactly right. Yep.
All right. Okay.
Right, now you've only got
I'm going to
one
go
more
with
wrong guess.
Burnley.
Burnley is incorrect. They have 2 players. Nathan Redmond, who we discussed previously on the show, and also Jay Rodriguez is still on that team. He's got 244 games. Nathan Redmond's played in 270.
Wow.
Yeah, see, this is a fun game.
So I don't have any guesses left. I've got to get the next 3.
You've got to get these 3.
Yikes. Whew. Well, it has to be Sheffield United.
That is correct. Sheffield United has 0 players that have 200 games.
All right, Sheffield United. Because of the turnover of the players, this is a tough one. Got me going on this one. I'm going to go with Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Oh, that is such a good guess, but it's incorrect.
Oh.
Craig Dawson is still on that team.
Oh, man.
And he's played 275 games. This I'm going to let you keep guessing because these last 2 are they're tough.
Yeah, I mean,
I really found it interesting. You know what I'll do? I'm going to tell you. We'll start here and do it in alphabetical order here. Arsenal has 1. Okay, that's Declan Rice.
There's only 1 player on Arsenal.
He's the only one, and he barely has it. He's 216. Brentford has only one, and that is Ben Mee. Brighton Hove Albion has 4.
Wow, yeah.
Including the one that has the most games. That's James Milner, 626 games.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he kind of throws everything for a loop, yeah.
Chelsea has only 1, Raheem Sterling.
Yeah.
Palace has 4.
Mm-hmm.
Joel Ward, James Tompkins, Jordan Ayew, and Nathaniel Klein. Everton has 6. No, 5. I'm sorry, 5. They're all defenders too, which tells you something about why Everton is not so good. Fulham has 1, Alex Iwobi. Liverpool has 4, Andy Robertson, Mo Salah, Virgil van Dijk, and Trent Alexander-Arnold. Manchester United has 5. Manchester City has 5.
Mm-hmm.
Newcastle has 1, Colin Wilson. Nottingham Forest has only 1. That's Chris Wood. Tottenham has 4, and that's and West Ham has 5, including James Ward-Prowse, my favorite, and then Wolverhampton. So, which 2 teams did I not mention?
Well, you didn't mention. Did you mention Liverpool?
Yes, Liverpool has 4.
Well, I had the Sheffield United. So you said there's 3 teams, right?
Yeah.
You said there's 3.
One starts with A, one starts with B.
Yeah, so it has to be Aston Villa.
Yes. Isn't that kind of surprising?
That is very surprising to me. And then the other one has to be
B.
But Burnley. Yeah, B. So it's got to be Brentford. Did you say Brentford?
Brentford has 1. It's Bournemouth. Bournemouth is the last one.
Oh, yeah.
How about that?
Wow.
So there's a special. Here's a bonus question: who just scored his 200th goal this past weekend for our 200th episode?
Oh, that was Mo Salah.
That was Mo Salah. That's right.
Yeah. 200 goals for Mo Salah. Yeah, that was impressive.
You know why he did it? He did it because
episode 200.
Yeah, everything's about 200.
That's exactly. It's time for what has turned out to be the most valuable portion of this program. It's time for this.
Now time for Adam's Weekend Soccer TV Tip.
As we mentioned, it's international break, but are there any games out there worth watching during international break?
No. Go home, just watch Netflix. Next question. No, it's a tough one, and especially because of the internationals. You got to kind of follow it a little bit deeper. The only thing that I would definitely recommend, and obviously we're here stateside, so I would definitely recommend that you watch the United States play, because they're playing in the Nations League, but what basically will happen is if they win these games and they play Trinidad and Tobago on Thursday and Monday, they will qualify for the Copa America. Now, the interesting thing is we're hosting the Copa America, so we still have to qualify for it, which is really a strange one.
Yeah, that is.
This will basically get their qualification taken care of. If it gives you any hope, we have scored the last 2 times we've played Trinidad and Tobago. We've scored 13 goals, and they have not scored 1.
But every American knows what happened.
I know. Yeah. Historically, we know we kind of got messed up a couple of World Cups ago. But ultimately, you could say our biggest accomplishment was back in 1989 when we qualified. We beat Trinidad and Tobago to get qualified for the 1990 World Cup, because we hadn't been to the World Cup in a long time. I was watching some videos of that. That was pretty cool. That game, which was in Trinidad and Tobago, when I was coaching college, there was a player who played for me in college. He was a ball boy at that game.
Wow.
Isn't that pretty cool? They told me about that.
Were you living here yet when in 89?
Yeah. I started college in 89, yeah.
Okay.
So I kind of remember it very vaguely, and obviously went back home to England to watch the World Cup because that was the World Cup in Italy.
Right.
And that's when the USA had to play Italy in Italy. Although they played pretty well, they only lost 1-0.
And that is featured in the show Beckham that we spoke about earlier.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Exactly. But yeah, so TNT will be watching that. So Thursday at 8 o'clock, that's this week. And then they play again on Monday. So I feel pretty confident they'll qualify, although I know US has got a few injuries. Pulisic is out. Weah's out. So there's a few people there, but they should have enough to get by Trinidad and Tobago.
Okay, sounds good. This program for 200 episodes has been also brought to you by Green White Soccer Club, led by Mustafa Edders. You can go to greenwhitesoccer.org to find out more about our club. And we're going to take our own international break next week. Have yourself a wonderful Thanksgiving, Adam.
Yeah, you too. Absolutely.
And we'll talk to you in 2 weeks for another episode of Free Kicks.
The preceding was a presentation of Opie Productions. Find our other great shows wherever you find podcasts, including opishows.com. Thank you.
This has been a presentation of Opie Productions.
Tony, can you shut up?